Working in the yard can be labor-intensive, and using old clippers like these can take a lot of work.
But now you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the day all while mowing your lawn. This week, we'll take the sweat out of yard work and show you innovations hitting the shelves like robot lawnmowers and lightweight battery-powered equipment.
Using the earth to heat and cool your home is smart. So how can you take advantage of geothermal energy? We'll show you some options.
And planting a tree can beautify your yard while helping the environment. It can also improve your energy bill. We'll show you how to plant and find the right spot for your no sapling.
And the siding on your home protects it from the weather, but it can help in other ways as well. We'll show you what we mean next on PowerHouse.
Wow, that yard looks like a jungle. And Pete, you have to mow it. Hope you have plenty of water because it's going to be a long day. Why, thank you, Megan. You better get started before the grass grows any taller. Make sure you're overlapping your rows. You don't want to miss any piece of grass. Boy, that's a lot of hard work. Keep it up, Pete. Only 2 more hours and your yard will be the envy of the neighborhood.
The perfect lawn is hard work, and keeping it trim has taken a lot of time away from homeowners on the weekends. But that doesn't have to be the case anymore if you have a robot doing the work for you. This is an auto mower. Meet Wyatt Jans. He owns a small engine shop and started selling these automated mowers a couple years ago. Wyatt, I gotta say the auto mower is amazing, but first let me ask, how does it know to stay in the yard?
Sure. So we actually install a wire, similar to a dog fence, continual loop around the property that helps sense all the boundaries.
Now, if that loop would break, though, it wouldn't just wander down the street.
Correct. So if you do get a break in the loop, the machine's going to shut down immediately, and if for some reason it does maybe get over that, it's going to shut down.
It's amazing how quiet it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's super quiet. I mean, they test out about 50 decibels.
Safety-wise, we don't need to worry about the blades on this for pets or kids?
Nope, it's very safe. It's on about an 11-inch disc, and it's about a 3-inch razor blade that does retract, and as soon as the unit's picked up, it does turn off.
Wyatt says the blades can last anywhere from 2 to 3 months, and they're easy to change. All you need is a Phillips screwdriver, and you can change them yourself. You can program it, or you send it out. How does that work?
Yep, so you can program days and times if you'd like, and you can tell it to go out either day or night. It actually cuts in the rain, so you don't have to worry about any kind of weather delays.
And programming, I'm sure that's not hard to do?
Yeah, if you can run a cell phone or a laptop, I mean, you can definitely program one of these.
I'm smiling because it's sneaking up behind you, so it'll just come up and
it'll bump right into me, and then it's just going to turn back around and take its random pattern.
The auto mower is powered by a battery. It has to return to a charging station when the battery gets low. The auto mower is capable of mowing up to 1.5 acres. The battery can last 3 to 5 years and costs around $150 to replace. Wyatt, what about theft? Do I need to be concerned if someone come in and steal my auto mower?
They all have separate PIN codes that you can change, and if the PIN code's not put in as picked up, there is an alarm that goes off. And then some of them have GPS tracking where you can actually pinpoint it if it leaves the property.
How about, okay, as we look at this cost?
So you're looking, base is $2,000, runs up to about $3,600,
okay.
And the largest one will do 1.5 acres.
And how much electricity does it use on average for a year?
So surprisingly, it's about $50 a year.
You know, a lot of pros, but tell me a con. Is there a con to this?
Sure. I mean, the only thing I've really seen is, if a yard's multi-tiered or sectioned off where the auto mower can't get from A to B, it doesn't really, work for that style of property.
The auto mower is gaining in popularity since coming to the United States a few years ago. It can cut grass up to a 45-degree slope and takes about 60 minutes to charge fully before beginning the mowing process again. But what about trimming? Turns out there's something to help with that as well. Now, Wyatt, I know there's going to be some trimming necessary. Talk to us a little bit about the new technology in terms of trimming equipment.
Yeah, so what we're seeing right here is the handheld battery series. I mean, you got a hedge trimmer, a chainsaw, a leaf blower, and a string trimmer.
And the question always comes, battery powered versus gas? Do I have the same power with battery equipment?
You're definitely going to have the same power. I mean, we're seeing large tree companies actually go to the chainsaws for safety as well as sound, but you know, you get over a full tank of fuel run time as compared to the gas.
And I'm amazed, again, the battery interchangeable among these four tools right here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the battery's right here in the chainsaw, and you can just pop it on out and move it over to your next unit.
Terrific. Wyatt, how about battery length? How long will a battery last?
Sure, you're seeing about 45 minutes to an hour, but they all do have an eco mode, so if you want to run with a little less power, you can get more runtime out of them.
Always amazed again how lightweight these are. And I know the hedge clippers, this is a little better than the hand clippers Megan's been using. That's a nice upgrade. Well, Wyatt, it's great to see the technology. Really, thank you for sharing that. And if you'd like more comfort-saving tips, visit our website at powerhousetv.com.
The Earth gives us many things: metal, minerals, plants. But did you know it can also give us energy as well? In fact, energy from the Earth, or geothermal energy, is one of the first forms of renewable energy that people used. Meet Tom Rutkowski. He installs geothermal heat pumps in all types of homes: old homes, newer homes, and even homes that are just getting constructed. With proper maintenance, geothermal heat pumps can last a long time. We have a pretty cool opportunity for you today. Right now, we're in a geothermal pit. And Tom, how far down in the earth are we?
We're about 6 to 8 feet on average.
Is that typically how far you dig?
Yeah, for a geothermal pit system, we want to stay below the frost line, and we generally like to do a couple more feet down just to be sure in case we get a hard, winter where it's going to go a little deeper.
All right, now let's talk real basic terms on what a geothermal system is and what we see around us here.
Sure. So a geothermal system is basically a unit that will sit where you'll typically see a furnace in a home. That system will either extract or reject heat from the house into the ground. You'll see behind us the loops going through. I generally like to explain it as a typical system. Condenser sitting outside for a home rejects all that heat up into the air. With a geothermal system, we do it more efficiently through our loop system with a methanol solution, and it gets on average about 2 to 3 times the efficiency.
Okay. Now this house obviously is being built from the bottom up. Does that make your job easier?
It does make it a little easier when we're digging a pit like this, just because the earth is already going to get disturbed anyway. They're going to have to come back in and rough grade it regardless. If somebody were doing a retrofit where we're taking a furnace and air out and put it in geo, probably wouldn't be the way to go because you have to replant, reseed. In that type of scenario, we'd bring in our horizontal boring machine and go underneath the house or not disturb the earth as much. However, this type of application does save the customer usually a few $1,000s on average.
The work outside the home is just one part of a geothermal heat pump. With new home construction, you can take advantage of other aspects of geothermal energy, like running pipes for in-floor heating. So once you've finished all of this work outside, is there a particular area in the home where everything's linked together?
There sure is. So each of these loops you see behind us here, we're going to bring in individually into the mechanical room and then manifold them on the wall there. So if something were ever happen, you can just ball valve the one off and you'll still have heating and cooling.
Interesting. Let's talk about efficiency of the system. How efficient is geothermal compared to a traditional system?
Sure. So on a conventional system, on the air conditioning side, without getting too crazy with your spending, you're going to hit probably between 16 and 18 SEER. On a geothermal system, you're going to be averaging anywhere from 30 to 36 SEER, so you're going to be a little over double. And then on the heating side, a furnace is going to be about 96% efficient. On geothermal, they measure it with a COP, so you're going to be anywhere from, we'll say 4.5 to 5 COP. What it'll equate to is about 1/3 of the energy cost for your heating.
Considerable savings then.
Absolutely.
You may think you need a large yard to install a geothermal heat pump in an existing home, but Tom says that's not the case. In this home, Tom is running the pipe work to the side of the home. They dig a pit so they can watch the pipes drill deep into the ground, but sometimes they hit a snag.
Oh, there's plenty of strange things we come across. When you come in to an older home, there's always little goodies buried throughout the yard, random septic tanks that were abandoned, old cisterns, that sort of thing.
But once the digging is done, then the challenge becomes connecting it all up inside the house.
So things are going to be a little different as compared to a conventional system. You're going to see the manifold where we're going to have all of our pipes coming up in. It'll manifold and then go straight to the unit. Where the furnace is sitting, that's where you're going to see your packaged geothermal system. The ductwork is going to look very similar. We'll tie it all back in so it looks just like a furnace and evaporator coil on a normal home.
Now talk to us a little bit about the cost for installing a geothermal system compared to a traditional heating and cooling system.
Sure. So a conventional system for new home construction, you're going to average about $12,000 to $15,000, depending on what you put in, and that's including putting in the infrastructure, the ductwork that goes along with it. With geothermal, we're going to be about $10,000 more for the contract because you are putting loops in the ground for that initial investment. However, with utility rebates and tax incentives, brings it a little closer to about a $5,000 more than conventional. And then in addition, we see that your home value is going to actually go up about $10,000 to $12,000 on average.
Wow, that's significant. And the energy savings, right?
Huge. We did a study before the home show, had actual customers call in, give us our utility numbers here. For a 1,500 square foot home, people were averaging about $1,400 to $1,500 for the utilities for heating, cooling, and hot water for the year. On geothermal, they were about $400 to $500.
Wow, that's incredible. Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
Many utility companies offer rebates for the installation of a geothermal heat pump. Check with your utility company to find out if you qualify. And if you'd like more details on how a geothermal heat pump works, visit our website at powerhousetv.com.
Planting a tree is not only good for the environment, but can also help you conserve energy.
In the winter, it works as a windbreak to help you conserve heating energy. And in the summertime, it can provide shade for cooling.
Megan, let's move this to where we're going to plant it.
All right. Meet Meredith Borchard. Meredith is an arborist and an expert on when and where to plant trees.
Hi, Meredith. We have our tree. Can you tell us about this specific tree?
Sure. Today we're going to be planting a bur oak tree, and this will be a large size tree at maturity. Should be very tall and broad, and it should be on the landscape for several decades. This is a long-lived tree, and during its lifetime it'll provide a lot of benefits to this homeowner and to the environment. It should in time provide a lot of shade. We're on the east side of this house, so we'll get some morning shade for the home and keep the home a little cooler. In the winter time, we think about trees as kind of helping block some of those cold winter winds, and so it'll help conserve heating energy as well.
A lot of great benefits. So I'm guessing this is a pretty popular tree now?
It is a popular tree, yeah. There are several different species of oaks. We're planting the bur oak.
Now, when we decide to plant a tree, what are the steps we have to take before we actually dig the hole in the ground?
So there's a lot of things this homeowner has already done leading up to this point. They've thought about the available space in their yard and the mature size of this tree. They've thought about the moisture of the soil. We've also thought about the light. Are we in full sun? Are we kind of in a shady area? All of those things will help the homeowner choose the species of tree. And one of the most important things they've done is to call 811. And that's a service that will come and locate underground utilities. So we can see lots of flags here. We can see an OK that's spray painted on the ground, so we know that they've been here and this is an OK place to plant.
All right, so we seem like we're ready to go, so we can get started digging.
Okay. When we think about digging a hole for a tree, we want to think wide, but not too deep.
Is it about a foot deep, Meredith? Or?
Yeah, probably about maybe a foot to 18 inches there.
So Meredith, can we just take the tree and put it in the hole? Is there anything we need to do special here?
I think we'll start by taking off some of this packaging here.
Now, just put the container in, or do we need to cut?
So now we're gonna take the tree out of the container. We can just lay it down carefully, and we'll remove that container. And then there's two really important things that we want to look at related to the roots. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is look for any circling roots, and I do see a few. And it's important before we plant the tree to correct that. And so we're gonna make a couple of slices around the tree here.
So you're just kind of gently going through maybe a quarter of the way through the root ball.
Yeah, about a quarter of the way, just kind of severing those roots here in 3 or 4 places. Okay. And then the second thing that we want to do related to the roots, we're going to stand up the tree, and I'm going to look for what's called the root flare, and that's basically where the trunk tissue starts turning into root tissue, and so you see it flare out, and that's where those first main anchor roots are. That's what really holds the tree in place, and that tells us how deep to dig. We want those right at the ground level.
Are we ready to go ahead and
Yeah,
move
let's
it?
go ahead and try it and kind of see how we're doing for depth. All right, so that looks great for depth. So now we're ready to start backfilling, and we're gonna just use the soil that's right here on the site. If we build a little bit of a mound around the outside, that just helps us focus the watering right on the root ball where it needs to be.
Now we have some mulch. Does the mulch go down before we water, or water? And
We'll go ahead and mulch that first,
Okay.
and then water on top of that. There are a couple of ideas with the mulch. The image that we want to have in our heads is a ring or a donut of mulch rather than a volcano. We don't want to stack it up against the trunk where it could cause some rot.
So Meredith, how are we looking here?
Pretty good, I think. Yeah, we've got a nice ring of mulch. That's looking good. We're getting some water and some moisture on there, so I think we're in good shape.
Now we've got a little bit of wind here, Meredith. Do we need to think about staking this tree?
That's a good question. Many times in urban areas we don't, and it kind of depends on what kind of a tree we planted. We had a nice root ball, good sized root ball on this tree. So generally, if you're not in a real open area, you probably don't need to stake it, but I would kind of keep an eye on this. It is leaning a little bit, and that having some movement in the trunk is a good thing, and that'll make for a stronger trunk.
Now, have we watered this long enough, would you say? Or can
Yeah.
you overwater it the first time?
I think we're getting pretty good on watering, so about 10 gallons is good for that first time that we're watering the tree. And then about once a week is a good frequency. You can overwater a tree if you would water it every single day. That would be too much. Trees generally like to have a good soaking, but then some time to kind of dry out.
Well, this is going to be a wonderful asset.
Meredith,
to
a
this
good-looking
yard.
tree, and again, benefits from this tree for the homeowner for years and decades to come, right?
For many years to come, yeah, this will be a great addition to their house.
Thanks so much. And if you'd like more information about how to save energy by landscaping your yard, go to our website at powerhousetv.com.
Meet Tom Casey. He's been remodeling homes for over 27 years, and energy efficiency is always top of mind. He's replaced windows, doors, and today we're talking about siding, specifically insulated siding. Tom, today most houses built have siding attached to some kind of insulation, but what makes insulated siding different?
The biggest thing that's going to help is how much resistance to heat loss that insulation provides. You're going to have anywhere from an R1 to an R3 depending on the insulation you choose. The thicker, obviously, the more it adds to the R value. The main thing you're looking for is how much it reduces that thermal bridging, which is the amount of heat lost through the studs itself.
Now, I know you have some examples. So the insulation is actually attached to the siding, right?
Depending on the product.
Okay.
There are some that go up separate, and to show the ones that go up separate. On the less expensive sidings, to try and keep the cost down, to help flatten out the wall, we'll put up a thinner insulation depending on what the old siding is. And then you still have the gaps in between, but at least you're adding some insulation to help reduce that thermal bridging. Then when you get into the better products, you'll find that they're a longer panel, so you have less seams. It's a thicker product, so from an impact standpoint, this is a much better choice. Same kids that throw baseballs throw snowballs, so it's going to help as far as the durability of the siding. The longer panels are going to have a lot less seams and get a lot more longevity with it.
And the thermal bridging, because I think that's a very interesting, when you look at a house, and help us with that, what that, for the consumer, what that means.
The biggest thing they're discussing there is we insulate the walls with the pink stuff, usually gives about an R19. So the problem with the studs is that only gives you about an R1, 1.25 per inch of studs. So on a 2x6 wall, you're adding about an R5 or 6. At the end of the day, the stud's not insulated. So I add an R3 to the outside of that I'm almost doubling the efficiency of that stud.
And this can work corners as well around the house?
Exactly. With the insulated sidings, what they'll do is insulate the corners, and that way you're not getting any heat loss through the corners of the building, because there's really no way to insulate that when you're building the house. So putting insulation in the corners helps on that.
So Tom, some real benefits again, and also I imagine quieter on the inside then with this in terms of the noise reduction?
No, on windy days you definitely notice a difference if you have insulated siding or not.
Okay. Installation-wise, is this something that a consumer can do themselves, or do I need a professional?
If you're going to go to a standard panel and put up an insulation separate, anyone can do that. One of the benefits we have here is all of our installers are trained in employee labor. So one of the benefits you get in hiring a contractor like ourselves is instead of just having the manufacturer's warranty on the panel, because of this foam and the training that our staff has, you get an additional warranty for an extra 10 years of material and labor, which is unique in the industry.
And we're always very interested on PowerHouse costs. What are we talking about in terms of costs here?
A typical house will add 10 to 15% more to add the insulation to a typical siding job.
Okay, but again, we're thinking about the energy savings that are going into this. Is there a way to try to figure out, you know, okay, I spend a little bit more for this insulated siding, and I know that can be a tough one, right?
The EPA says that when the insulation is added, average house can expect approximately 20% reduction in their energy savings.
So again, you might spend a little bit more, but again, the overall energy savings year after year after year can add up.
It does. It helps definitely over the long haul.
You were also saying the benefit in terms of termites that come with the insulated siding and how that can prevent termites.
Both the insulations that we offer have a product that's called Preventol injected into them. It helps kill termites, so it's a nice benefit of getting rid of the termite issues that some areas of town have.
That's a nice thing to keep in mind. So again, some real benefits to insulated siding. Well, Tom, thanks. We look forward to seeing this. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
I think I'm done trimming the bushes. Are you done mowing the lawn, Pete?
I think I might have a little bit more to do.
Mm-hmm. Don't strain yourself.
Isn't this great? A lawnmower that mows your lawn for you. All you have to do is charge it up and let it go. It'll keep cutting, and before you know it, your lawn will look like a golf course.
You know, I think I would have preferred using some of those battery-powered tools over these old clippers. I'm really impressed how interchangeable the batteries are and how much power you can get from one charge.
Speaking of power, you can't deny that geothermal energy is a game changer for homeowners. It really makes heating and cooling your home easier, and those monthly energy bills will be lower.
And don't rule out how you can save energy just by planting a tree. A little shade on your home and a natural windbreak will assist you in lowering those bills while also helping the environment.
And in turn, making your house a powerhouse.
Megan's Wardrobe, provided by Dress Barn.